Hi class, I hope this video finds you well, safe, healthy in these crazy times. Um, Today I am talking about the book that I read for the Scott Odell Historical Fiction Award, which was Elijah of Buxton by Christopher Paul Curtis. This is actually it's historical fiction because it not only takes place during historically accurate times in America and Canada, but also takes place at an actual settlement called the Buxton Settlement, also known as the Elgin Settlement, which was established in looking at my notes, 1849, and it was established for fugitive slaves and free blacks. And it was also a popular stop on the Underground Railroad. So basically, this book is about Elijah, who is supposed to be the first baby born free in the Buxton settlement. And it takes place when I believe he's 11 years old. And basically, he's a kid, like he doesn't really know much about slavery. He knows that a lot of the people that live in Buxton come from slavery, are either escaped slaves or they were freed slaves and they've come to live in the settlement. So he ends up going to a carnival, and there's also another character in here called Preacher, and he's not a good character, not a good person. And they find out one of the characters in here, her husband is beat to death. He's still a slave in America, and he's beat to death. And so instead of using the money that she was going to use to purchase his freedom, Preacher says he's going to use it to buy some slaves in America, but he's lying. And so he takes the money and he steals it, basically. Another character, Mr. Leroy, and Elijah go after him, and Mr. Leroy dies along the way going to find Preacher, who's stolen this money. And they find their way to America. Well, Elijah finds his way to America by himself, and he ends up catching up with Preacher. He ends up finding him in a barn. He was hung, unfortunately. Also in the barn are some slaves, so he does come face to face with slavery in this book. And then he makes a promise to one of the slaves that he will take her baby. So one of the slaves in there is a baby. Take her baby back to the free settlement. So he does, and they name the baby Hope. Basically, it's full of historically accurate information. It talks about the Underground Railroad, slavery in America and in Canada, and the dialogue and the way that the characters speak is also historically accurate. So it's really full of lots of historical accuracies and a lot of historical fiction. So it could be a good teaching novel, and it's around the age of like middle school, early high school for students to read. It's pretty heavy with some of the topics that they talk about, slavery and everything like that. But it's a really good read, and I would recommend to anyone who is interested in reading historical fiction. So I give it a thumbs up. Yes, it was good. Thanks, guys.